Hi, Dean. It's Philip. It is Sunday night. I've been working on my 20 is Plenty, the perfect webinar outline. So thank you for spending some time with me tonight. I'm going to read it, but I want you to hear my emphasis on what is important to me. So thank you for helping me unlock these things out of my brain. I can't wait to give this to the public. I think they're going to eat it up, and I appreciate working with you. So the 20 is Plenty, perfect webinar outline. Objections, the big domino. In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you how the secret of untapped senior lead source that no one else is talking about yet, and holds the key to creating a lifetime deal pipeline without paid ads or competing with other investors. But it's only available through my 20 is Plenty senior selling system, or senior system. We got to come up with a good name for that, don't we? So listen up, because you don't want to miss out. When we talk about the Epiphany Bridge, Dean, it's pretty easy for me to talk about this because I've lived it all. And so I feel like I'm probably a little bit rare. I don't know if this plays well or not, but I'd love your opinion on. I kind of did this business backwards, and I think if anything, it gives me some credibility to where I am today, is that most people aspire to be where I started, and I've worked my way back to wholesaling. And so I started this business when I was 21. I built my first house. I'm 42, so I'm in my 21st, 22nd year of real estate. And I started this business backwards because I started off in new construction, development, ground development, and worked my way back to wholesaling. Where everybody I talked to said, I've been a wholesaler for 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 3 years, whatever, something early. And they all aspire to be wholesalers, to turn into rehabbers, to turn into rental buy and holds, to turn into developers. So I got out of the development business because I was not very good at adult babysitting, which is what I call general contracting or running crews. And so in the beginning, the early 2000s, I didn't think wholesaling was a very big market. I thought, just like a lot of people even think today, that everyone sells their house on the MLS with real estate agents. And so I learned, it took me 8, 9 years to realize how big the market was. And so it's funny because I actually was a wholesaler before I even knew what the term was. So I used to drive around, look for houses that looked dilapidated, and I would get a hold of them. I would have no fear of knocking on a door. And so I'd go up and try to find the people, and I would hunt to find a deal because I knew in certain areas, builders would pay top dollar for good new construction teardown lots. And so I was driving for dollars before the term driving for dollars was around. I was a wholesaler before I even knew what the term wholesaler was. In my goal and my journey to try to understand where the best leads are coming from, or the best appointments, in that 2009, right after the Great Recession, is that I realized that, or at least what I told myself, was that it had to be bank-owned properties, right? The banks were taking back all these houses. Being a REO property seller or buyer would have to be the key, right? It had to be bank-owned. It had to be foreclosures. It had to be. It had to be. So what did I do? I went out and I set out to work for an REO company, a bank-owned company. And what I thought was true, I did know about and learn about deals way before everyone else did. And what did that get me for my time and efforts? It got me jack squat. I would know about a deal 3 to 6 months early, but what happened was, as soon as they would list it, they had what's called a owner-occupant look-back period, which means that investors couldn't make bids for the first 21 or 30 days on the property. And so by the time the 21st day came around, every investor in town knew about it. And yes, I knew about it 30 days early, but it did not help me at all because everyone else was in the same line as I was. And so I got very frustrated with that because knowing about it early only helped me if you were able to buy it, which I wasn't able to. And so even to this day, when I tell people I'm a real estate investor, they always say, oh, you buy foreclosures. And the answer is no, not at all. I don't buy foreclosures ever. I've tried every type of marketing. I've done direct mail, I've done pay-per-click, I've done Facebook marketing, I've done probate deals. Those are the big ones, right? But what I've also done is a lot of the weird stuff, or a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to find that nobody else knows about. I've always been a curious person. I've always tried to find where are the best deals coming from. Have you ever tried pizza top box marketing? So that would be putting your advertisement on top of a pizza box. I tried it. It's a really great way to get stoners to call you at 3 in the morning. How about a church bulletin? Churches usually stick together pretty well. Church bulletins are not that bad. But what I have found is it's not nearly enough business for me to build a career on. This is one of my favorite ones, Life Alert leads. So I had the thought that if somebody buys Life Alert for their mom, that probably means that mom is well on her way to not living at that house anymore. So I found the guy who installed the Life Alert leads, and he allowed me to market to those people. And once again, a great lead source, and I actually bought some houses from that one, but not enough to keep my cup full. Yellow Pages ads. The year is 2020. What a hell of a year it's been. When I first started in this business 20 years ago, Yellow Pages ads were gigantic. The phone book were huge. Year after year, they were consistent and less and less and less, down to where I don't even think we're doing Yellow Book at all anymore. Billboards, of course, you've got some guys that like to say the word ugly a lot in the billboard advertising, but it's not been anything sustainable for my business. I even put a We Buy Houses sticker in the back of my car. I went to one of the local RIAs here in St. Louis, and I heard about a guy in Arizona that had 300 people that had stickers in the back of their windows that all fed back to him, and he was buying 30 deals. I thought it was 30 deals a year from it, and I thought, man, if I just had that, I would be set. Well, I went out and I took action, and I put this sticker in the back of my car that said, we buy houses with my phone number. And what I created was, I'm a pretty aggressive driver, I should say this, but what I created was angry phone calls to me that said, hey, jack off, why don't you learn how to merge? So every time I'd cut somebody off in traffic, I would get a phone call to say, you need to drive better. So I didn't buy many houses. In fact, I think I got one appointment, and it was on my car for about 8 years. So that's kind of embarrassingly bad. I have spent a ton of money on marketing. One of my most painful ones ever was a high-end, full-color card stack that was in clear wrapping that went out to affluent neighborhoods in St. Louis, and the cost of it was $25,000. And from that mailing, I got nothing. I don't even think I got a phone call from it. I know I didn't buy any houses. So to spend 25 grand on marketing, I know the pain and effort that we put out and the money that we put out to get nothing out of it. I've done bandit signs. The thing I remember about bandit signs most was that they always tell you, go out at 3 in the morning so that way nobody's around to catch you. And make sure you use a Google Voice number so that way if the cops call you that you can't get caught. I remember thinking to myself, is this what I'm choosing to do with my life? Is that I have to go through these great lengths to not get caught by the police, when really I'm just putting up debris on the side of the road to make the side of the road look worse? And I thought to myself, is this the business that I'm trying to be in? Am I trying to be a guy that does bandit signs? And it just never set very well with me. I've got a buddy that actually got busted by the cops because he didn't use a Google Voice number. They found him. They gave him a ticket. He had to go to court. He ended up paying $5,000 a fine because of his bandit signs. And I thought there had to be a better way. In 2016, I was one of the first people to ever use the picture of your house marketing. So like on a postcard, it showed a picture of your house. And it was very successful at getting to my phone to ring with just angry sellers. They thought I was trying to steal their house, or that I was sitting out front of their house, and that I had some way to magically steal their house because I had a picture of their house. So what I remember about that most was how effective it was at pissing people off. And I remember thinking that I had to explain what Google was to a lot of people. I said, if you just go to Google and type your address in, you'll see that same picture. So today is a big one, is what people are doing is this SMS or text blasts. I'm really looking forward to the lawsuits that are going to happen from that. It's without question spam. It doesn't seem sustainable. It seems like a wave that's going to crash, and when it crashes, it's going to do it hard. I have not done the text message blasting. I don't believe in it. The other big rookie trend, and when I say rookie, is people getting started. They're trying to find what can I do on my own efforts, and I can't believe it. It's cold calling of all things, picking up the phone and calling people. I would rather get shot in the face than I would want to do cold calling. This is one of those great ways to give yourself a minimum wage job. So bravo. Cold calling, yes, if you get a good cold calling lead, you earn every damn dollar because you have dug and dug and dug. You're trying to find needles in a haystack, and I'm not in the needle in the haystack business. I will not give myself a minimum wage job, and I will not do cold calling. So many of these marketing efforts we've talked about are spray and pray. That's not for me. I'm in the home buying business. I'm not in the marketing business. The frustration of paying huge money for crappy leads was too much for me. Direct mail has been getting less and less effective. I was paying for nearly $3,000 to acquire a direct mail house. Pay-per-click was the highest cost. Sometimes it took $7,400 in my market to acquire one house. And with pay-per-click and direct mail, I was always one of 5 guys on each deal. I wasn't standing out, I wasn't special. A funny thing happened to me though in 2011. It was the end of the year and we had done 66 houses that year, and we told the story of what's a stereotypical story that we can say about these sellers. And it came up with, and I still tell it to this day, is that the best seller I've ever had is always the same. Dad passed away 8 years ago. Mom's been living on a fixed income. She fell down, she had a surgery, and now she has to move into senior living. The adult children are all scrambling, they're looking for the best help, and they need to sell the house. They don't want to sell the house, they need to sell the house. This is something that happened to them. So I said to my partner, I said, is anyone going directly to the senior living communities? And he said, no one is. And I said, well, I will do that. So I volunteered with my audacity and my bravado and hubris, and turns out to just go to the most local senior living community and put my hand out and see what I can do. And I was overwhelmed is what happened. I was saying things the wrong way. They kept wanting to put me in a box. They kept wanting to say that investors are bad, they take advantage of grandma, or they kept saying, we already have a real estate agent. But I didn't give up. In fact, had I given up, we wouldn't be on here today. I kept networking, I kept listening, I kept learning. I knew their clients needed to sell their houses. I knew the families didn't want to rehab them to today's standards. I knew the prize was too great to stop. To me, this industry was obvious. Of course people moving into senior living needed to sell their home at that exact moment. So who were the right people to network with? What should I say to them so they not only like me, but trust me to work with their very important clients? How was I going to find these people? Where were they hanging out? I found out early it wasn't by just walking in the front door. I had proven that many times over that just by walking in the front door was a great time waster and a great way to blacklist myself in the industry I was trying to penetrate. So then I started connecting with the right people, and then it started clicking. These people got me. These people are in senior living. These people in senior living understood my value to them. I positioned myself as the solution for the problem that the communities were facing daily. I found out that these right connectors were trusted not only by the families that they serve. I found out that these right connectors are trusted by the families they serve. They are the warmest of referrers, and when done correctly, they hand you appointments on a tee that anyone could close.